Hello, beautiful soul. This is Christina Lopes, the Heart Alchemist, welcoming you to another one of my videos. So this video, this was supposed to be one video on the top 10 questions that I get asked about twin flames, but it ended up being so long that I cut it in two. So this is actually going to be a two-part series on the top questions that I receive on twin flames. A few years back, I made a series of 3 videos on twin flames. I'm going to leave you the links to these videos, so if you haven't seen those videos, you might want to go back and see them before you continue with these new ones. And when I put out those videos, I didn't actually realize how popular they were going to become. I think it's my most watched videos on my YouTube channel. And so after I finished those videos, I got inundated with questions and more questions and more questions and more questions. And over the years, it's been a steady stream of questions. I never went back to the topic of twin flames. It was because I was just busy doing other things and living my life. I'm not just a twin flame healer or a twin flame coach. I do other things. So I don't just help twin flames. So that's kind of why I don't always talk about the twin flame connection. So, but what I've done is I've compiled the top 10 questions that I get asked, that I got asked and get asked about those videos, and also questions that I get asked about twin flame clients that I work with. And I put those 10 questions together, and I've put together this Q&A that's now 2 videos, okay? So the 3 original videos on twin flames that I originally shot, I'm going to leave those for you to watch if you want to before you continue with this video, okay? So that's that. I wanted to kind of just get some housekeeping out of the way, not really housekeeping, but just prepare you and give you a little bit more background on this twin flame topic and on these videos. I'm going to, when you get through these videos, if you feel that one or a question that I didn't answer, in depth enough, I do answer in pretty good depth. That's why these questions ended up being really long. The videos ended up being really long. But if you feel like there's something I didn't cover, or you have a question that I didn't answer, below this video you will see a link to a questionnaire page, and I want you to click on that link and submit your question on this questionnaire page. Please do not leave your questions in the comments section, because I will not answer them. I don't have time. I unfortunately don't have time to comb through comment section and take out all of your questions, okay? So what I've done is I've prepared a questionnaire, and that's where everyone submits questions for my weekly videos, whatever the topic or whatever the weekly video. So specifically, if you have any questions that you want me to go through that I don't cover in these videos, click on the link below that'll take you to a questionnaire, and you can submit your question that way, all right? Again, I will not answer questions in the comment section. It's not because, I don't like you or I don't love you. It's because I don't have time, and I prefer to have the questions all in one place. So please make the effort if you really do want your question answered by me on a video, all right? So there's that. Now a little bit more about the topic of twin flames, and a bit more about me as a teacher. Again, I'm not just a twin flame teacher. The twin flame path is a part of my path. I am a twin flame. I'm a divine twin flame who's come into union. So I have a lot of experience on the path, and but it's more than that. I'm on this world basically, not just to help twin flames. I'm on this world to help everyone, including you, live a fulfilling, deeply delicious, joyful life. Okay? Purposeful life too. All right? And when it comes to twin flame, when it comes to the topic of twin flames, I can become a little bit more challenging as a teacher than I usually am. Okay? I have a very fiery energy. I'm a challenging coach, and I'm a challenging teacher. So whereas sometimes people emit a lot of, gushy, gooey, soft love, and that's their energy, I have a more challenging energy. I still love you, and I think you can feel it in all of my videos. I still love you, and I still have a deep amount of respect for you, but my love is more challenging than it is gooey or soft. My love is more challenging. So I want you to live your fullest potential in this world, and I'm going to do that by loving you, but sometimes by pushing you to go further. Okay? So when I answer these questions, be prepared that I'm going to answer some of them in a challenging way. I am a teacher that likes to explode paradigms. I'm on this planet to explode paradigms. So sometimes I look at a paradigm, I look at an old template, and I call it bullshit. And that's another thing. You're going to hear adult language in this video, so be prepared for that. I don't always curse in my videos, but sometimes, especially on the topic of twin flames or when I get passionate about something, I turn into a sailor. I don't know. It's just me, you know, it's just part of who I am. So there'll be some adult language in this video. But be prepared to be challenged. Be prepared for your deeply held beliefs to be challenged, okay? That's part of my mission. That's what I've come to do. I've come as every twin flame, and you'll see as you go through the questions, if you're a twin flame, you have also come here to change templates, to change paradigms, to tell new stories about love and about so many other topics, okay? You are a light worker that has within your system light codes that come to this planet to be implanted into the planet. So you come to change the old into the new, but you can't do that if you're stuck in the old templates. And that's where I come in as a teacher. I look at the old templates, I call them bullshit, and then I make you look at something in a different way. I don't make you. I don't, you know, you can shut off this video and go look at any other teacher if you want to. I don't make you. That wasn't the right word. I challenge you to see things in a different light, okay? But I challenge you with love. I have a deep love and veneration for everyone on this planet, and I hope that my content, including these videos, will help you along your path, okay? So there's the intro to this video. In this video, you're going to find the first 5 questions of the 10, and then in the second video, you'll see question 5 through 10. All right, so let's get started with this Q&A on the top questions that I get asked about the twin flame connection. See you in a bit. Okay, let's get started with our questions on twin flames. I have a cheat sheet in front of me, and I'm going to be looking at my cheat sheet as we go through these questions. So question number 1, what the heck are twin flames? Okay, so the best answer I could give to this is that no one knows for sure what twin flames are. And we're each trying to describe this connection through the prism of our own experience. So I'm going to define this connection through the prism of my own experience and through researching twin flames and learning from other teachers too. So I'm going to give you a simple, higher level definition of twin flames, and then I'm going to get more complex and more spiritual. But here's the easiest version of it. Your twin flame is basically your other self. Your twin flame is the same energetic blueprint in another body. All right. So when you're looking at your twin flame, when you're looking at your divine counterpart, you are in essence looking at yourself. That person is not your other half, as we used to call these connections in the past. No, you're not a half of anything. You're a whole. So your twin flame is your divine counterpart, your other self. Okay. You in another body. That's the easiest way to look at it. Your twin flame is therefore, if that is you in another body, your twin flame is also therefore your greatest mirror to yourself, right? When you're looking at your twin flame's eyes, you are looking deeply at yourself, and then on a deeper level, you're looking straight at God. But I'll tell you why in a little bit. Okay, so that's the easiest explanation. Your twin flame is your other self. Now let's get to the more complex and more spiritual. So when I work with plant medicine and I work with ayahuasca. And when I was doing an ayahuasca ceremony, ayahuasca basically opens your vision. So you become a bit all-knowing. It's a tea, shamanic tea. And when I went to an ayahuasca ceremony, during the ceremony, I asked the plant, I was under the influence of the plant, and I asked the plant to explain to me what this connection was, what this twin flame connection was. And what the plant showed me at that moment was I became my twin flame. I actually embodied my twin flame. It's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me before. I embodied my twin flame. I became my twin flame. And then what the plant showed me was, she showed me what looked like an egg floating in the middle of space. And it was this really luminescent light egg. It looked like an egg, but it was made out of light. But she didn't tell me what it was. She just said twin. And then left it at that. So I was left with that image of that luminescent egg in the middle of space, and I didn't know what it was. And then later on, as I was reading a book by Elizabeth Clare Prophet called Soulmates and Twin Flames, you might want to look that up. I was reading that book, and in that book, Elizabeth Clare Prophet said that twin flames come from the same white fire ovoid. As soon as I read that term, I knew right away what my egg was, what I had seen. And so Elizabeth Clare Prophet's definition of twin flames is something that I really resonate with, because it's been my own experience, and it was what was shown to me. So let's go deeper, okay? So what is this ovoid? What is this egg? And how did this all start? If you think back to the Big Bang, if you can actually think back to the Big Bang, where everything began, where source energy exploded outward in all directions, there was a differentiation of energy. Source energy exploded outward and sort of separated itself. It laid a bunch of eggs, basically. So when we came out of source energy, the first separation that we experienced as souls, as individualized streams of consciousness, came at the Big Bang. When we differentiated, when we came out of source energy, these eggs were formed. You can think of these eggs as in the same way that you would look at the Taoist symbol of yin and yang. We've all seen that symbol, right? And we all kind of know what it means. The yin and yang, the Taoist symbol of yin and yang, means that within that symbol contains everything. It contains the masculine, the feminine, yin, yang, positive, negative. All the duality, opposites, are contained within that symbol. They need to exist together, and that's what this original light egg was. So you come out of source, there's this egg that you are a part of, and then from this egg, it splits in two. That's the original streaming of twin flames. That's what twin flames mean. It means that you came out of that egg and you split into two consciousness streams. But the two consciousness streams that you split into, they have the same energy blueprint, exactly the same energy blueprint. This is why some call it the soul song. So you and your twin flame basically are the only two entities in the entire universe with the exact same energetic blueprint, the exact same soul song. Okay, so these two streams of consciousness separate from the egg, all right? So the egg splits into two. One stream of consciousness goes this way, the other stream goes that way, and then we continue on our travel away from source into the universe, into the universe of matter, into life, into experience, into evolution. These two streams of consciousness, even though they contain yin and yang, they contain everything within them, they are identical in their energy blueprint. One of these streams of consciousness takes on the masculine energy and the other one takes on the feminine energy. So they split their polarities and they go off into the universe. Now, I want to say something before we continue on in the video, especially if you're new to the topics of twin flame. When I talk about masculine energy and feminine energy, I'm not talking about a man and a woman. I'm talking about an energy. We all house feminine and masculine energy within us. So when the two streams of consciousness split from that egg, one takes on the divine masculine energy and one takes on the divine feminine energy. It doesn't mean that one becomes a man forever and one becomes a woman forever. No. You can be a woman with divine masculine predominance and you can be a man with divine feminine predominance, okay? So it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with the polarity that you took on, that specific stream of energy took on, okay? So there you go. You split and then you go off and you evolve further. You go into different lifetimes, you do different realities, you take on different karma, you live different experiences. Sometimes the stream of consciousness, the two stream stream of consciousness that come from the same egg. They cross in different lifetimes. But actually, twin flames don't meet as many lifetimes as we think they do. Soulmates, on the other hand, have a longer history of more lifetimes coming together and apart and together apart. Twin flames, actually, a lot of times what has been happening up until now is that twin flames have been incarnating at different times in different realities. So if one twin flame decided to come down here, the other twin flame would remain as a guide on the other side, okay? And there's a reason for that. It's because the energetics of twin flames are very powerful. So having two twin flames in the same reality can be beautiful and constructive, but it can also be very destructive if the twins aren't ready to come into union and to find each other in a specific reality, okay? So these two streams of consciousness go off. Again, remember, they are identical in their energy blueprint. That's why I was saying that when you look at your twin, you are looking at yourself in another body, okay? So that's essentially what twin flames are and how I resonate, the definition that I resonate more. Two streams of consciousness that are identical in their energy blueprint. They both come from the same egg. They both come from that first split from source energy. So the first moment that you came away from source energy and you started on your journey of being a differentiated soul, an individualized soul, you were with your divine counterpart. That's why when you look at your twin flame, so many people have said this to me, when you look at your twin flame, one of the words that's most commonly used to describe the twin flame is that person feels like home. What are you saying when you say that? Yes, they do feel like home because they are the closest that you have ever felt to source energy. They were there with you at the beginning split, okay? So there's the first question. What the heck is a twin flame? I'm trying very hard to answer complex questions, okay? So this is as simple as I could get with the twin flame, and hopefully you get what I'm saying, okay? So on to question 2. Why is this connection so intense? All right, so why is this connection so intense? It's intense just because what I finished in question 1. It's intense, first of all, because when you come into contact with your twin flame, you are coming into contact with your best mirror in this reality. You're coming into contact with you in another body. So of course it's going to be intense. It's like you're looking at yourself constantly, even if you don't know that on a conscious level, all right? So that's the first reason why it's so intense. The second reason is more spiritual. So the other reason why it is so intense is because when you come into close proximity to your twin flame, especially when you meet in the physical, and especially when you go into reunion in the physical, your energy fields begin to merge. Your energy fields merge. Not just your outer, bigger energy field or your aura, what's known as your aura. It begins to merge, but then your chakras begin to merge one by one by one by one. Now, it's not that they merge and your chakras suddenly disappear and you become just like this one being. No, you don't lose your autonomy in a certain sense. But your chakras and your energy, they begin to merge so they become more closely resembling a unit. They operate more as a unit as opposed to individualized pieces. So as you're coming face to face and closer and closer and closer to your twin flame, your energy fields start merging, your chakras start merging. You actually turn on certain chakras that are specific to you and your twin flame that no one else can activate. All of this energy work is occurring as you're coming closer and closer and closer to your twin flame, especially if you come into union or physical, if you actually physically meet your twin flame. Sometimes the energy merging starts occurring before you meet your twin flame, and I've heard of countless twins that actually met their twin flames in the dream state before they met them in person. That didn't happen to me. I had a very kind of normal twin flame experience in that sense, in that when I came face to face with my twin flame, I didn't even know it was my twin flame at the time. So, and it was in coming into contact in the physical proximity with my twin flame that the twin flame template was activated, and that's when I then knew, okay? So, but for different twin flames, it occurs differently. So this energy merge that's occurring between you and your twin flame, it intensifies the connection that you have with each other. Now, it gets even more intense because as you're coming closer and closer and closer and closer, what your twin flame does is your twin flame, knowingly or unknowingly, they don't even know this is going on and you don't even know this is going on most of the time, is you activate a spiritual awakening or a spiritual acceleration in each other. When your two energies begin to merge, there's a spiritual process that begins, a spiritual acceleration and a spiritual awakening. And that's what makes things really intense, because remember, I said a little while ago, your twin flame is your other self, but your twin flame is therefore your greatest mirror of yourself. So imagine, think about this for a little while. If I come into close proximity with my greatest mirror, and I get closer and closer and closer and closer with that mirror, and then that person activates a spiritual awakening in me, what's going to happen? Well, a lot of wonderful things happen, because you start realizing how wonderful you are in a being. You start realizing what love really means, because you feel that love coming from that soul. But sooner or later, that twin flame, as they're coming close to you, they will activate that spiritual awakening, and with the activation of the spiritual awakening and spiritual acceleration, you are going to inevitably have all of the shit that you held inside of you. It's going to come up to be processed, and as it's coming up to be processed, guess what? Your mirror is right in front of you, and they're going to be mirroring all the stuff that you don't like about yourself, that you hate about yourself, that you didn't want to think about, that you didn't even know happened to you. They're going to mirror all your childhood traumas. They're going to mirror everything, okay? And as they're mirroring that, that's really intense, right? If you're going through a spiritual awakening like I did, I met my twin flame 4 years after I started my own spiritual awakening. And when I met my twin flame, it accelerated a spiritual awakening that had already started. But I went through 4 years of spiritual awakening when my twin flame wasn't even around. And those were really hard years, because I was going through so many things. So many wounds were coming up. So many things were coming up to be dealt with. But imagine when I met my twin flame, it was actually a really humbling experience, because here I was thinking I was this spiritually evolved being and that I had done all of my homework, and then I meet my twin flame. She activates a spiritual acceleration in me. I start to see in her all of the things that I hadn't healed, that I didn't like about myself, all of my insecurities. I started seeing them mirrored back to me. And boy, was I in for a ride. It's very painful sometimes. This is a very painful part of the twin flame connection, okay? So that's why, you know, to make the long story short, that's why twin flame connections are so intense. Not only because you're looking at your other self, but also because the energetics around twin flames are very complex and they're very powerful. And the closer that those energetics come to each other, the more intense the mirroring is going to be, the more that twin flame is going to cause you to spiritually evolve. But sometimes that can be really painful and really intense, especially in the beginning of your connection. At the end of the day, it's beautiful because it's love, right? So as your twin flame is coming close to you, what their soul is saying to you is, I love you, there's some shit for you to see. I love you, there's some shit for you to see. I love you, there's some shit for you to see. You see, your twin flame is constantly, your twin flame soul and higher selves are constantly saying to you, I love you, but there's stuff that you haven't healed and you need to see. I love you, but you need to see this. And it's that mirroring of the stuff that you need to see but don't necessarily want to see. It's that mirroring that sometimes causes a lot of intensity, a lot of problems in twin flame connections, especially initially. Okay, so there's the answer to that. That's why the twin flame connection is so intense. Question 3. Why is this connection so hard? Okay, so it's kind of a continuation of the question above. Why is it so intense? To answer this question, I want to start by saying that the twin flame connection doesn't always have to be hard. And actually moving forward, as the energy on the planet is changing, as we're evolving more and more, as our consciousness is evolving, as we are becoming more evolved spiritual beings ourselves, then any kind of twin flame connection that we have, our twin flame connection will be easier and easier and easier moving forward. But why has it been hard for the majority of us up until now? The reason is kind of going back to the question before. The reason is that when this twin flame comes close to you and they activate that spiritual awakening in you, yes, it can be beautiful for a little while because, again, you're being mirrored, not just the bad things or the negative things or all of your wounds back to you, but you're also seeing the mirror of all the wonderful things that you are. You're seeing the mirror of potentials for your future. You're seeing the mirror of unconditional love, because that's what's at the core of the twin flame connection, is pure God love, and that's unconditional love. That's you and your twin flame unconditionally love each other on a soul level, okay? So, but it becomes hard because as you're coming closer and closer and closer, and all of your unhealed baggage is coming up, all of the karma that you've accumulated from past lives, all of the ancestral wounds that you've been born into. Twin flames, I haven't talked about this yet, but twin flames, they actually choose missions where they come into family lines that are very problematic most of the time. And the reason that we choose to do that as twin flames is because when you choose to have a twin flame mission, when you choose to come down here and cross paths with your twin flame, it means that you are already advanced on a level that you can withstand a lot of energy in your energy system. You can house a lot of energy. You are a master alchemist. You know how to do this. And so you come down and you come with a service mission to this planet. Anyone that's here with a twin flame mission, if you have incarnated with your twin flame, it means that you are of service to the planet. You've chosen to be of service to the planet. You've chosen to come down here with your twin flame to help the planet evolve, to bring love, to anchor unconditional love, and to change the old to the new, all right? But the way the twin flames do this is that they choose to incarnate in, usually for the majority of us, they choose to incarnate in very problematic families. Problematic biological families. These are families that in general have a lot of wounding, have a lot of issues to deal with, a lot of ancestral issues that have come generation after generation after generation. And twin flames choose purposely to incarnate in those families because they are master alchemists, and they are able to grab that energy of ancestral wounding, of old templates, of old way of doing things. They grab that, they transmute it within themselves, and then they explode outward. The energy of God, the energy of unconditional love. They explode outward and they clear all of that ancestral garbage that has been on the planet for so long. So they're doing this as part of their service mission, okay? Now imagine, think about this for a moment. If I choose as a soul to incarnate in a really problematic family lineage or a problematic biological history, what's going to happen is I'm probably going to have a painful childhood on more than one level. And so I come in as a soul. I'm this twin flame. I know I have a twin flame mission on a soul level, but then I get layered over by templates. I get layered over by biological family history. I get layered over by life experiences and karma and all of these things that happen down here. And I totally forget who I am and what I'm doing here. And then imagine I take all of my karma and all of the life experiences and all of the family wounding and all of that, and then I meet another person that's my divine counterpart, and they have their own family issues, they have their own childhood issues, they have their own karmic issues and their own karmic baggage, and then we meet each other. And at first we're like, oh my gosh, you feel like home. Oh my gosh, wow, what is this connection with this person? At first it's like, because you're looking at your other self. So at first it's this wow experience, but then sooner or later, it becomes hard because all of the stuff that you and your twin flame carry, it has to be purged inevitably so that you could reach the next phase of your mission on this earth, all right? And it's in that moment especially, and this happened with me, you know, if you are and your twin flame are not awakened, so I get a lot of emails from people saying, you know, I'm awakened, my twin flame has no idea what's going on, he just keeps running away from me. It's usually a female that will email me, a divine feminine energy that will email me, and she's talking about her divine masculine energy that kind of ran away, doesn't want anything to do with her, and she's emailing me or calling me or whatever in a lot of pain because she wants to get that person back. So this is usually what happens. And what's happening is that they came together and all of the baggage was released, and it got ugly because as your twin flame is purging, as you are purging, it could get really ugly. And if one or both of you are not spiritually aware of the connection and what's going on, it's going to be really hard to sustain the connection without separating, okay? So that's why this question comes up. Why is it so hard? It's hard a lot of times when the two souls are unprepared, in a sense, to sustain that union. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how to heal themselves and how to heal each other without going into separation, full-on blown separation mode. So they get stuck. They get stuck in a lot of this 3D templating. They get stuck in all of the stuff that happened to them. They get stuck in their wounds. They get stuck blaming each other. This happens a lot in twin flame connections, blaming each other, when in fact you can't blame. As soon as you point your finger at your twin flame, who are you pointing your finger at? You. Okay, so sooner or later that's not going to work, but until the two twin flames figure out how to harmonize their connection and how to heal the stuff that's coming up, it can be a complicated, it can be a really hard connection, all right? But it doesn't have to be, and here's the good news. As you're getting better, as you're evolving more and more and more, as you're understanding what this connection is, and as you are understanding what you need to do in the connection, the twin flame connection is a connection of a lot of responsibility. You have to understand who you are, but most importantly, you have to understand that as a twin flame, you're probably for the rest of your life going to have to do certain practices to maintain the harmony in the union. You're going to have to do some practices, at least simple practices, like clearing your energy every single day. Because if you don't clear your energy, it could get bogged down, the wounds could get stuck there, and then ultimately you clash with your twin flame if you don't do that, okay? So it's a connection of a lot of responsibility, but as you learn how to navigate the connection, as you learn what you're doing, as you become a spiritual master, the connection becomes easier and easier and easier, because when a wound comes up, you and your twin flame will both know what's happening. You won't start a fight or start blaming each other. You won't even do that anymore. You'll just say, wow, I have a wound that I need to heal. It's coming up. You mirrored it to me, so let's clear it together, okay? So the twin flame path can get easier and easier and easier the more awareness and the more spiritual evolution you have, the higher your consciousness, the more you are aware of what this connection is, okay? So it doesn't have to be hard, but I know it is for a lot of people, and it's been for me too. So I empathize with everyone out there about this one, okay? All right, next question. Question number 4. What are the stages of twin flame union? All right, so this is another question that I don't really resonate with what's commonly talked about in the twin flame circles. So in twin flame circles, there's supposed to be a certain number of stages. Some say 8, some say 7. I don't even know how many stages there are supposed to be in the twin flame union. I haven't experienced some of them. I don't resonate with a lot of what's said to be a twin flame stage. So I'm not going to discuss things that I don't resonate with. But I am going to talk about 2 stages or phases that they're so common, and I've experienced them myself, and they are so common within the twin flame community, within the twin flame pairs, that they warrant being talked about. So they really need to be talked about. Now, it's not to say that the 2 stages that I'm going to talk about are more important than the other ones that are supposedly a part of the twin flame union, or that other stages don't exist. I'm just talking about these 2 because of their because they are so common and they happen so many times, and one of them is actually a really important part of the twin flame connection in general, okay? So these are the 2 stages. The first one is mission work. Okay, now mission work is the kind of the mission that you and your twin flame decided on before you came down here. Okay, it involves the service that you're going to be giving to the planet. Remember, the twin flame connection is a connection of service. It's a mission of service to the planet. It's a beautiful mission of service to the planet. But each twin flame pair has a different way of doing that service mission. All right, each twin flame pair is completely different in what their mission is to the planet, what their service is to the planet, and what they've agreed to come and do down here. Usually mission work is talked about as one of the last phases of the twin flame continuum, but in my experience, I actually came into mission work with my twin flame before. It was one of the first stages of our union. I came into mission work with my twin flame before I actually united with my twin flame. So when I met my twin flame, she was really, really important in activating. You know, I give her the credit. The divine masculine often does this to the divine feminine. The divine masculine very commonly turns on the deep mission work that's already within the divine feminine. So each twin flame has within themselves embedded codes that are the ticket or the map to their mission work. And when I met my twin flame, even before we came into union, my twin flame activated that deep mission work in me. I was already a teacher and a healer before I met my twin flame. But what happened when I met my twin flame was that she activated a focus and a depth in my mission that I hadn't felt before, okay? So the mission work was actually one of the first stages that I experienced in my own twin flame union, okay? And that eventually will be a stage that all twin flames go through. It's not even a stage. It's one of the purposes of why you chose to be a twin flame and why you chose to come down as a twin flame at this particular moment, okay? So that's one stage I wanted to talk about. The other stage is what is called, so oftenly called, the runner-chaser stage of twin flame union. Now, what is the runner-chaser? I don't like calling it that, but I'm going to call it that just for a little while so I can define what it is. The runner-chaser stage is what's called this stage where one twin, usually it's one twin, usually it's the twin that houses the divine masculine, but it doesn't, again, these generalizations are a little overly generalizing, but this is more commonly than not what happens. The twin that houses the divine masculine energy will very frequently come to a point in the union where both twins are going through this purging, they're going through this awakening, things get really hot within the union, the disharmony starts, and the two twins don't know how to deal with the disharmony. And what happens very frequently is the twin that houses the divine masculine energy will, from just one day to the next, bolt, not want to know anything. They just want to end the relationship. They don't want to hear about their twin flame anymore, and they just run the other way. And usually the person that's left behind is the divine feminine energy, and she'll often go chasing after the divine masculine energy. Okay, this is the story as it's told in the twin flame connection collective. But this is something that we really need to start clearing from the twin flame collective. I really don't like the term runner-chaser. It doesn't describe the energetics of what's going on during this stage. So I'm going to call it the separation stage. I'm going to call it the repelling stage, and I'll tell you why. Because when you are together with your twin flame, when you're in union, and when there's any form of disharmony that starts to be created within the union, and disharmony just means that the energetics of the union, whereas before you fit like puzzle pieces, suddenly there starts to be a little disharmony in those puzzle pieces, okay? And why is there disharmony? There's disharmony because remember, your twin flame is a spiritual accelerator of yours. So all of your crap is coming up. All of your twin flames crap is coming up. We're talking about wounds from past life. We're talking about childhood wounds. Everything is coming up. And when everything is coming up, if the two twins are not emotionally and spiritually mature enough to know what's happening, what will very frequently happen is things will get so, there will be such a severe state of disharmony within the connection that the energetics of the connection literally shift, and you would begin to repel each other. So what people are calling the runner-chaser isn't a runner-chaser at all. It's two twin flames repelling each other. You see, there's no runner and there's no chaser to this. There's a mutual repelling of energy. Now, I know this is a really painful phase for anyone that has gone through this phase. I know it's really painful, but I want you to start looking at this from an energetics perspective. And I work on this with clients all the time. To start understanding that the twin flame separation is very often a protective mechanism that's brought in by the higher selves of the twin flames and your own spiritual teams, your own spiritual guidance. Why? You know, and I've had people ask me this all the time. You're telling me that I separated from my twin flame and it was my guides and my higher self that wanted that done? What? I don't even understand this. I get this a lot, especially when people are in that really painful phase of the separation, when their hearts are just broken and they don't know what to do, okay? So, but I'll tell you why this is a protective mechanism. As the disharmony is coming in, if you are not emotionally or spiritually mature enough to work through that, so a spiritually and emotionally mature pair will know when the disharmony starts. They'll be able to identify it right away. They'll be able to say, hey, I have wounds coming up, you have wounds coming up, you're mirroring things in me that are really painful, I'm mirroring things in you that are really painful. I don't know what to do, but let's sit together and let's work through this. When there's maturity in the connection, they can hold those harmonics and they can go back into harmony without having those poles, without having the energetic shift that causes the repelling. But when the twins are not able to do that in a 3D perspective, the higher teams begin to look on the connection and they don't get worried, but it's like your higher selves are looking down on the connection, then they're saying, whoa, there can be potential for destruction here. Remember, the twin flame connection is a connection of so much power. When two twin flames are in harmony, they can change the world. When they are in disharmony, they can be very destructive. So these unions are very guided, they're very looked upon, they're very loved. We are so guided as twin flames. Everyone's guided. But when you have a twin flame mission, because the energetics of that mission are so strong, they are guided by ascended masters and high beings that are always trying to help us and helping us for sure. So your higher selves are looking down, they're seeing that the two twins down here in 3D aren't able to sustain the harmony. The disharmony becomes more and more and more, to a point where, and this happened to me, so I'm going to give you a first-hand look into this. This happened to me. I was trying to work through the disharmony with my twin flame. We weren't able to do it, and I started to get physically sick. I started to get hypertension. My heart, I felt like I was dying at times. And why? I don't have hypertension, I have perfect blood pressure, but you see, my body was actually getting sick from the disharmony of energy in the connection. And so what do the higher selves do? They look down and they see hypertension. Nope, we're not letting that happen. This is getting destructive to a point where it's dangerous. And what the higher selves and the spiritual teams do is they help shift the harmonics within the connection so that now you are repelling each other and now you cannot come into harmony. When the energetics shift, at that moment, there is nothing that you can do except let it play out. You must let the repelling phase play out because it's protective of you, okay? It's being put in place to protect you. Let it play out. So to all of, usually I'm talking to the divine feminine energy probably, because it'll be usually the divine masculine energy that's running away, and then the divine feminine is trying to go after him. Look at this from an energy perspective. If you are both repelling each other, and you as the divine feminine try to go after your divine masculine and convince him or her that they need to stay in the connection, if the energetics are repelling each other and your twin goes over here and you follow, what's going to happen? Your twin's going to keep running, and you go after the twin that's going to keep running, because your harmonics are now in direct opposition to each other. There is nothing you can do in this moment except stop, no chasing, no running. Just stop at that moment, take a deep breath, recognize that you're in separation phase, recognize that the harmony, that the shift, there's been a shift in your energetics that are repelling each other, and stop and start to heal at that moment. Okay, so these are the two stages that are so common in twin flames that I definitely wanted to talk about them. But any other stages that you can read about tons of them. If you resonate with any of them, that's great. I don't resonate with a lot of the stages, so that's why I just talked about these two. All right, but there's the answer to that question.